Republicans and Democrats have promised us the world. Medicare for all, no child left behind, equity, safer streets, and police reform, an end to the housing crisis, a more peaceful world, and a sound economy. Government is the barrier to all of these things. If you're sick of the lies, fancy slogans, and broken promises, then join us in the Libertarian Party and help bring a real free market to the U.S. and help set every individual free. LP.org. That's LP.org. Hello, and welcome back to the Liberty Blues. I'm Shawn Osborne, and today Brandon Jackson is joining us. He's the Southern California coordinator, or what is it, coordinator? What is it?
Yeah, Southern Area Coordinator.
Coordinator. I had it right. I don't know. I second guessed myself. But we're having this on the Liberty Blues instead of on Libertarian Los Angeles today, because we'll end up talking about a little bit more national kind of stuff and how we're dealing with it here in the state. So I guess let's get right into it. So you've been going to some protests and things like that. How's that been?
Yeah, so it's kind of like my thing I do is go to different protests, whether it's, right leaning or left leaning. There's a lot of libertarian causes, at protests lately. So yeah, I've been going to the ICE protests and rallies lately. And they've been kind of welcoming, to be honest. A lot of libertarians are being welcomed in, especially with our stance on abolish ICE. We're being kind of welcomed in with warm hugs, basically. Like everybody's, I get fist bumps everywhere I go and stuff, and I hand out flyers to people, and things seem to be going in our favor. So it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, I'm glad you're out there doing it, because I really hope a lot of people look at this and recognize that, the government has gotten entirely too powerful. And maybe this will be a wake-up call to people. We tried to say it when Obama was handing out tanks to local law enforcement stuff. They're just weaponizing police and stuff. And we're living in a police state, or at least setting up for one. And it seems like, I hate to say it, but we were right in that sense, because when people are getting shot for carrying a gun, or for protesting, or being put on a terrorist watch list or something for filming the cops or ICE or something like that, that's not how free people live.
No, and that's a lot of the grievances that I personally have too. As somebody who goes to protests quite often. I mean, unfortunately, I'm currently a felon. I'm going through court stuff right now.
Mhm.
I can't carry anymore, but I used to carry to like 90% of the protests and rallies I go to. Not, concealed carry, and it's not to like provoke anybody or anything, but for my own safety. You never know what's going to happen at protests and stuff. You don't know, who's going to push up against you, if some crazy thing happens and people start getting shot at, you never know. You never know. And it's better to have something than wish, you had it. And it's tragic seeing nowadays that the right is cheering for, ICE killing a guy who had a CCW, a firearm on him, but didn't necessarily brandish it or use it on him. And it's really weird. There's like a flip right now with the right and the left. It seems like the left is now embracing, the Second Amendment and videotaping and protesting federal agents, when that was kind of like the right, from 2020 to 2024.
Yeah.
So it is a little weird going out to the protests, and it's like the left is now being like, "Oh, libertarians, we love you." The last 4 years it was like, "Oh my God, you're fascist. We hate you." And it's like, wait, I'm getting backlash.
Yeah, it is kind of wild, to see it. But like I said, I really hope it's waking people up, and I'm glad you're out there talking to people about it, because it is scary to see some of the things that are going on, and like with the surveillance state and everything. I mean, it's nothing new, to us, but to some
No.
people, it's like they woke up, and it's like the empire that we have around the world and the way we treat people across the planet has come home, and now they're having to deal with the repercussions of a violent empire like the U.S., where they do have a monopoly on force on us.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't do anything either.
Mm,
You can't sue FBI, DHS,
mhm.
ATF, ICE if they violate your constitutional rights. Many people don't know this, but like technically, you can sue federal agents through something called Bivens, but it only applies to very few select agencies like the DEA if they raid you without a warrant. If it's not that like specific case law for that specific like case, you can't do anything. So we're kind of left in a situation where it's like if we can't, sue, we can't, officers like federal officers don't get punished or anything like that. It's like, what do we do? We have the surveillance state building up through DHS, and it seems like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we ask ourselves like, what can we do if Congress doesn't allow people to sue, federal agencies for wrongdoings? And I mean, to be honest, I see our back against the wall. It's like we're
When you got
stuck.
no course for grievance, that then there's really not much else you can do but fight against.
And I would rather see it go through the courts. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. Like I had a situation where, it kind of similar to the modern ICE situation where the guy was shot because he had a gun. I was open carrying at a protest, and there was all these rumors that um I pulled the gun on cops and I shot, and that I was going to terrorize some congressman or something like that or whatever. All these like weird rumors and stuff. And if I was killed that day, all of these rumors would have just stayed. And I got to go through the court system, and eventually all the charges against me were dropped in Arizona and different things. And I wasn't executed, and change came out of it. But right now, I'm still fighting to be able to sue.
Mm.
Um, and it's about to go to the Supreme Court, but it doesn't seem like it's going to go in my favor. I'm just kind of like pushing the log around, and just kind of like going as far as I can the peaceful route. Because I mean, nobody wants violence realistically. So,
No, no.
um, yeah, it's just
So
no
you
tough
you you
times.
actually got shot, right?
I got shot, so I got hit with a grenade launcher. I honestly thought I got shot. Like I've been paintballing and airsofting my whole life.
Uh,
And when I got flashbanged and then shot with a grenade launcher, I looked down and I was like, "Oh god, dude, I got shot." Like, "Oh god." And I looked down, I didn't see a bullet hole. But my whole groin area, um, like let's just say this, my dick looked like Two-Face from Batman. And my
mm,
whole groin area was just, yeah, it blew my belt off. Like it was bad. And I thought I got shot. I had rifles aimed in at me, snipers, I had helicopters flying around, and I I thought I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm gone." And I'm glad Phoenix PD had training and knew what to do, and instead of shooting me like FBI probably wanted,
uh-huh.
it was less lethal. And it's like I wish ICE would do stuff like that, but they're not trained
Mm.
to de-escalate that. They don't really have any de-escalation training like that. They just go and pepper spray people. Um and it's like if they learn de-escalation like a lot of police forces do, I think this would be a completely different situation we have on our hands. But it's
Yeah,
uh, yeah,
yeah. I think even a lot of people who voted for Trump, I don't think that's what they voted for. And I wish
Mm.
conservatives would realize that you know the way government behaves is once it gains a power, it doesn't let go of it. So the Democrats are going to have this power at some point in time, And, we've already had people on, from Obama's administration calling us libertarians, the people who were nonviolent as terrorists. They've listed us as that before,
Yep.
so you could see where that's going to go.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
take
I'm
doesn't take
actually
a genius.
I'm actually afraid because I haven't been let off a list yet.
Oh,
Even with
right,
Trump,
yeah,
even in with Trump being in office, I haven't gotten a pardon. I haven't gotten taken off a list. For all I know, I'm still at the top of a domestic terrorist list, quote unquote. And so it's scary when, like, I just heard Trump saying that ICE is going to go after Antifa, and um, go through houses without warrants,
yeah.
and now they're possibly going to be going up against National Guard, and it's like, like, this is not what I'm sure most of the agents, didn't sign up for this, and I know most of the conservatives didn't vote for this, and I'm scared because I think I'm going to get my door knocked in again just for being, an American and standing up for my rights. It's kind of scary, to be honest. It's
One thing I don't know, because I mean, obviously people are getting killed by the cops, and I don't want to victim blame in any way, but I really want people when they go out and protest to really take it serious. This isn't a game. You're going up against the world's most powerful empire when you're going out and protesting this. Pounding on your drum and stuff might be a little bit of fun, but man, we're not too far off from some shit like Tiananmen Square happening. Some shit like that. You know,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and like you said too, it all depends on who's in power. It's a power game, and yeah, sure. Right now, Trump's there, and some of the rights like okay and safe, but he can flip anytime.
Mhm.
And then yes, next election, a Democrat gets into office, I'm fucked.
Mhm.
And I'm sure a lot of other people in my position are too. And
Mhm.
it's just it needs to stop one way, shape, or form. Most of the protests are peaceful. I would argue like a solid 90% are. Most of the protests you don't even know about are happening. It's
Mhm.
like here in San Diego, we've had people protesting. I'd probably say about 2-3 times a week, and it's not even like big news. People are out in different areas and they're peaceful. It's a lot of people that actually support the party are out there, and it's not violent. It's just people standing up for their rights, and um, yeah, it is pretty dangerous because you get put on a list nowadays too.
Yeah, facial recognition and everything.
Yeah, which is DHS. So it's like, that's the other scary thing too. It's like the DHS is leading the surveillance state stuff, and ICE, and they have the Joint Terrorism Task Force with ATF and FBI, and um, it's just it doesn't matter who you are, left or right, libertarian. It's like we're all being categorized and logged one way, shape, or form. And yeah, it's just a matter of time till
Yeah. Some the whims of what government's gonna go after changes, and sooner or later we're all gonna be under the boot.
at some point or another, maybe
Yeah.
different times, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's kind of like that old World War II slogan about like Nazi Germany. First they came for the socialists and the unionists, and then the list goes on, and then finally, and then there was no one left to speak for me. And they came for me. It's the same type of thing. It's
Mhm.
um, first they came after the Patriots, now they're going after whatever you call these ICE protesters, and then the illegals, and the groups just get smaller and smaller. And
Mhm.
everybody's asking themselves the same thing. Like even the Black Panthers are asking themselves, like, is this a fight that we get into? Like we only fight for the Black community, and their slogan is power to the people. So it's like, do we stand side by side the people, or because this isn't a Black community issue, we just ignore it? And everybody, all the groups are asking themselves a similar question, like, is this a fight? Even if you're pro um, rounding up violent illegals, I don't think most people would be against that. If some immigrant from somewhere is raping a child or pumping fentanyl into the system and stuff. Yeah, most of us are probably like that's not what we want in our society, right?
Mhm.
But given government power, they abuse it and it always goes one way. It's almost never goes the way it's intended. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned, like, say, the Black Panthers. I mean, the Black community and different minority communities have suffered at the hand of, state violence quite often, or allowing other people to abuse the community and just turning a blind eye to it. So, I mean, I would think that say a group like the Black Panthers would realize that, I mean, the way they actually get what they want and be able to have, what they want as equality or whatever they want to see it as, um, is that everybody would be on the same page fighting against that same thing. Other communities who hadn't noticed the abuses going on can wake up and see what's been happening in these other communities can happen to everybody. Yeah,
yeah,
just like we've done all over the world.
right.
How long is it before they drone us with something here within our own borders?
I laugh because it sounds funny and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's like ha 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 drone strike, but it's like it's serious. Like I can totally imagine
Mhm.
that happening nowadays, and it's surreal. It's something that I wouldn't have imagined, 10 years ago happening, and here we are. Like,
I remember them talking about droning that former cop that shot the judge, Michael Dorner. They were talking.
mm,
He was kind of bunkered down someplace, and they were talking about it openly on the news. They were thinking about droning him.
oh God,
Man, that's crazy. I said they even talked about it.
yeah, that I I I can't even imagine using that kind of force on people. It was like the National Guard in the streets during COVID and stuff, and all this military presence around civilians for it's not like we're getting invaded, it's not like I mean you there could be an argument for the immigration stuff as an invasion in small cases, but it's not like China is on our shores and we need military in the streets, we need drone strikes now, call in the strikes. It's like there are people there's ways to handle things, especially when there's grievances, and it's like that's my biggest problem is that even when we are grieving, and telling the federal government and even state, for example, like even in California, we have issues, right?
Mhm,
And we tell the state, like, or feds, hey, we have this problem. We don't want these people in our community. It's a nuisance. They don't listen. The government never listens, and it just creates fights, and we have drama, and it's just. I don't know. It needs to end one way, shape, or form. Like either there needs to be some mutual respect and boundaries between the Fed and the states and cities and stuff, kind of like the 10th Amendment, you
mhm.
know. If only the Constitution was enforced and actually like consequences for breaking it, but I don't know. Something needs to happen where we come together and stop fighting this left versus right power struggle, and pointing people out as left versus right if they're at protests. Like I'm not a leftist, even though I'm at ICE protests,
Mhm,
and it's like I have principles. Um, and I don't flip back and forth based on who's in power, and a lot of people do, and we need to start achieving that, where people don't do that anymore. Um, I think the Libertarian Party is probably the only one that can actually do that for not just California, but the country as a whole. There's not many organizations that have messaging like us,
mhm.
um, and we need to learn to embrace what we have and go out and share it with people.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's a beautiful side of libertarianism. The media portrays us as selfish and blah blah blah. When really, we're just about let you live your life. If you want to live it, in a more liberal fashion or a more conservative fashion, so be it. Just don't mess with other people. You have the right to go to church or not go to church, and raise your children the way you want, so long as you're not hurting another person. And the problem with people who are really into being left or being right is they like to use the government to enforce their morals, and they want people to be empathetic with the exact same thing that they want to be empathetic about, or that they're.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. It is totally true. But and it's like that exact situation though is why we're in what we're in now.
Mhm.
It's one side pumping up, part of the government, and then another side coming in pumping up the other side, and bam, now we're stuck. So yeah, we're the only ones who can talk people out of it. I think we're the only small government party.
Mhm.
We don't. I mean, we've been pretty principled. We don't flip flop. There's a few people, but for the most part, the party is pretty like straightforward, and like I'm actually proud of the party for that. Like, to be honest with
Mhm.
you, um, I expected a little bit more pushback, and I'm happy to see where we're going. Like it seems like sides that were even for ICE initially, like we all understand what's going on at this point, and it's one thing to have faith in officers and agents doing their jobs, and some of them do, but it's like you also have to see the reality of what's going on and people dying, and it's like I don't know. I'm done with it. I've
Yeah.
had I've, I've had my past few days of anger and sorrow, and um, I get vocal sometimes during these periods, and then I go ghost mode afterwards.
Well, I'm
And
glad it caught you in a talking mode.
it is one of those heated moments because I mean, to be honest with you, what's been pissing me off the most right now is a lot of the pro Second Amendment like right that is now talking shit about the Second Amendment, and
Right.
it's like you have I forgot his name, Gunther something. He's like one of the biggest like
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that.
yeah, he's like one of the biggest right wing 2A advocates, and was like, "This guy was armed, lock him up." And it's like, "Whoa, whoa, what? Did I just hear that out of your mouth? Like, he's armed, lock him up?" Like,
That's crazy. Oh, man. Yeah.
that's honestly what's been pissing me off the most is
Yeah.
it's a lot of the people that I've, found more an alliance with on the right that are in this mindset, and it kinda hurts my heart. It pisses me off, so
Yeah.
that that's where most of my steam has been, like, being released at, but
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw some of that. I just got on X, and I was looking at it, I was like, "Am I reading the," 'cause since I'm blind, I use a screen reader, and I'm like, "Is this reading the right text with the right
and
person?"
part of you's thinking, "Is this AI? Is this
Yeah, I
like
was
an
like,
AI generated thing?" And then, nope, everybody's sharing it, and you go to his page, and you're like, "Oh my god, he didn't even delete it. He still has it up." Like, oh my g like, at least delete it, man.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, he seems to be happy with it. One of the other things since you were mentioning the non-lethal, technology that, they have out there, and yeah, obviously, I'm glad you got hit with that instead of a bullet. Um, but I remember hearing a podcast on, Dan Carlin's, Common Sense, and it was during the Obama years, and it was called The Velvet Glove, and they talk about how they'll be able to use sound cannons and things like that to control us, to keep us from being able to, you can't fight against a sound cannon, really. You're just going to
No.
leave. And I believe, I read that they use that in Venezuela, so that they are, starting to use these kind of technologies to disable people, to make them move, and to control them in non-lethal ways that, won't look like it does on TV right now. So I fear that they might change their tactics, but they're still going to be authoritarian.
Yeah, well, see, those sound weapons aren't, uh, that's not my definition of non-lethal.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm talking about more like pepper ball, bean
yeah.
bags, like, things that like, oh my god, I wish I was shot by a beanbag instead of this fucking grenade launcher. But like,
Right.
I honestly thought I was shot. Like when I got hit, it literally hit me, and I was like, that wasn't a paintball. that wasn't a beanbag. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like it's oh no. And I'm glad I wasn't. But sound weapons, I mean, they do trauma to your head and your ears, and like they can cause internal bleeding. And that's not necessarily my definition of non-lethal either. Like there's ways to go about it and not, and I think that that is more of a controlling device, to be honest with you, less about riot control and more about population control. I mean, you can keep a whole city block down with some of those um less lethal noise.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they even have like microwaves and stuff that can just kind of,
there's a,
cook you.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's quite a bit that. And I wouldn't use any of those in a protest. Like I said, for protests and stuff, sure. I mean, if things get too crazy, a little bit of tear gas, like smoke grenade pop, to get
Mhm.
them dispersed from a certain area. Um, Pepper balls, bean bags, but outside of that, I'm not. Once you get past that, you start to have citizens come out fully kitted.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, if the police and feds want to prevent that, then they need to stop coming out with full kits and ARs and um, killing people in the street. And we're getting to the point where people are going to come out fully kitted, and it's like, with the way ICE handles things, I don't know if it's going to go well. I mean, the
Mhm.
police usually are pretty logical when it's like, but there's groups out here armed. We're not going to mess with them. We're going to
Yeah,
let them do
don't
their
pick them
thing.
up.
They don't even push back ever. Like usually the local PD, out of all the times I've gone out and people that I've worked with have gone out, the police have never pushed back on us ever. They respect it. It's kind of like they respect it. So it's going
Mhm.
to be interesting to see how ICE handles it when it happens.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of the ICE agents too are old um, nationalists, kind of like some Proud Boys and different things too. Enrique Ontario, I believe his name was. I think he's an ICE agent now.
Yeah, I think.
Um, so it's going to be interesting seeing how they react to things, being who they are.
Mhm.
Maybe their eyes will open a little bit and be like, "Oh no, we're the bad guys."
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe they
Well, the
won't, and
black
they'll
thing.
push back. But it's getting to that point. So
Yeah. Do you have anything other than the ice things that you've been doing before that all erupted?
yeah, well, like before I was arrested, or
Oh no,
like
no, just recently,
recently.
like in Southern
Recently,
California.
yeah, it's not just ICE. Local San Diego, we've been the LP out here has been going to like protest rallies to stop the fees. It's kind of like San Diego keeps increasing and adding parking fees, trash fees, and they say fees, but it's really just like a new tax. The city's not balancing the budget, and in order to get more money, it's like, hey, we're gonna nickel and dime you on everything we can. So a lot of the city's done with it. Even a lot of people on the left are done with it. People on the right, it's everybody. We're all done.
Yeah.
So we've been going to that too. And then I am going to talk to the Black Panthers here soon, for like community outreach,
Mhm.
and just talk to them, see what's going on, what their mindset is, and um, go from there. But there hasn't really been any other protest besides ICE
Mhm.
stuff. I mean, there was no Kings, um, which was a fun one, but
Mhm.
that's about it right now.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I'm glad, man. You're out there doing it. Being the face of the party down there in at least Southern California. So that's cool.
It's not hard for people that are listening right now. We're pretty welcomed, in a lot of different groups and protests and stuff. Like if you go out, you shouldn't really be afraid of the people out there. Like I hand out political quizzes, the advocacy of like political quizzes.
Mhm.
Um, People eat those up. They take them. They laugh like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, it's something fun to do. And they take it. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's a little bit biased towards libertarians, like,
Mhm.
but it's something.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm not looking for people to, go chase ICE and stuff like that.
No.
I don't think the Libertarian Party should be doing that at all.
Mm.
I don't think that is our fight or our battle, but I do think you should get out and represent the party a little bit, and talk to some of the crowd and people. There are socialist parties that are out there that are currently um, using this time to grow and collect signatures and build, and we kind of need to build up against that. So
Mhm.
um,
I agree.
yeah, people need to start getting out there. Like I said, don't chase ice, but at least show up and represent and um, soon your community, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, be present in your community, and like I said, don't take this shit lightly because it is the empire you're dealing with.
It is, it is, and I will be the first to say you never know what happens at those protests.
Uh-huh. You never.
Right now they're pretty peaceful and they're good. Um, but
They could
anything can
send a
happen at any
provocateur
time,
in. They could send a provocateur in easy.
and it happens. I will say, a lot of those provocateurs aren't around as much from what I'm seeing locally.
Mm.
A lot of the Antifa types have been told to kind of like stand down and kind of like melt in the shadows, if you will, by these big government socialist parties and stuff.
Mhm.
The Party for Socialism and Liberation and then Peace and Freedom are kind of running a lot of these events.
Mhm.
So they kind of have control of things and who their security detail is and whatnot. But they're professional activists. They're like a professional protesting party, essentially.
Is
So
that what people mean when they're talking about paid protesters, or they talk about more about the Soros kind of thing?
a
'Cause I
little bit of both, to be honest. I think they are one of the same,
Mhm.
personally. Um, the Antifa anarchist left are not the paid ones. They're actually your more local anarchists that are going to go feed the homeless and stuff and go do volunteer work and beach cleanups and stuff like that. They're more hippies, like hippie style, like yeah. It's these larger organized groups that I don't know if they're the Soros paid ones and stuff. Some of those Soros paid did blend in with Antifa the last, few years, but that anarcho left group has done a pretty decent job cleaning up and keeping things community. A lot of those paid people came from out of state, out of city. It was, um, like protests in LA, for example. Yeah, there was a lot of locals there, but a lot of the people that were causing damage and stuff came from out of state. Like it wasn't the
Mhm.
locals.
Mhm.
Even during like the BLM times from, like 2020, 2024 and stuff when those things were happening, um, it was people from out of state. Like even some of the local chapters of like Antifa and stuff would try to get them to stop and be like, "Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is our local community." And whether they were feds in disguise or paid or whatever, there are agitators.
Mhm.
Um, it's hard to know where they come from, but it's not groups. It's not specific groups. It's just infiltrators.
Yep.
So you never know. We may have some here in the Libertarian Party too, for all we know. But um,
Yeah, they infiltrate everything, you know?
it's
Yeah, you
it
got
sucks. It sucks.
yeah. I would say if it's a person who's egging you on to do something you shouldn't be doing, that's
Yeah,
probably bad.
don't do it.
Don't go in the building, man. Don't go in the building.
That no, that's how many people, like I was a part of the movement, the Boogaloo. We were Hawaiian and stuff. We were probably the most heavily infiltrated group in America the last few years, and it was exactly that. A lot of the ways that they got us was like honeypots, where they would get us into chats, and then oh look, I got auto steers and suppressors and different things. Who wants to buy these? And it's like, uh no, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I know what this is. And some people fell for it, and then they get locked up, and it's like they bought illegal weapon parts, or like you look at the Michigan governor kidnapping attempt, right?
Yeah.
It's supposedly 15 people, but like 11
Yeah,
13 of them
yeah,
were FBI or informants. It was a planned operation, and it
yeah.
wasn't the boogaloo. Like they grabbed like a few people out of a chat, and they were like, "All right, let's meet up." And then, aha, we got you.
Mhm.
And don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. If there's malicious intent in things, and it's kind of like, hey, we're gonna go take the Capitol building and storm it and stuff. Uh,
It's
you
time to go
know,
home.
right? It's like, it's one thing to stand out and represent you and your community and your party and stuff, and do things, and it's another to actually incite violence unless it's really, 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 really needed. If Hitler is here today and he's sitting here and commanding the Nazi troops to storm all the buildings, and then it's like,
That's a different.
maybe maybe we take a stand, but
Yeah,
um it's not there yet. So it's not we're not I'm not to be honest with you, I'm not going to put my life on the line for immigration control. I'm going to stand up for people, but I'm not going to get shot for people that aren't necessarily U.S. citizens, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Personally,
Like I
um,
said, you don't wanna impose your morality on others, right?
no,
Right.
no, but
So it's
I'll be
just
out there.
want others to do the same thing to you. You know, there might be a hill you would choose to die on, that's just not it, right?
No, it is not. It is not the hill I'm going to die on, but it's a hill that I will root for. A little bit. Like, I think everybody has constitutional rights. I think even illegals have due process rights, and I don't think we should have a giant militaristic federal agency running amok everywhere. And it's like, yeah, I can get behind that,
Mhm.
but I'm not I'm not going to go out there and literally put my life on the line and instigate things. And it's not. I mean, even if I do that, I'm probably going to be arrested. And I got to play a little bit more cautious than most people. So
Yeah, yeah.
if I'm out here doing things, then you can too, because like I'm kind of on that like 3 strike rule. I'm on like the first second strike, so it's like if I do anything crazy, I'll probably be in lockup for a bit. But
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
chilling.
yeah. I'm damn glad you're on the streets, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, we need it.
Yeah.
We
Do you want
need it.
to give out your social media or any place, as because you said you make some posts here and there and, where people can reach you?
I'm a little embarrassed on my Facebook page right now. Like I said, usually, like when things aren't the way they are now, I'm usually pretty quiet. I don't hop on too much. Like my ex is pretty clear of things, but when stuff happens like this, I get fired up, and it's like he comes out. So yeah, I'm on Facebook. My name Brandon Jackson. I have my same profile picture across the board on all social media. It's me at a 2020 election protest with a "Come and Take It" flag. So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, X, um, all the same picture and whatnot. So
Mhm. And, how about you got the San Diego, LP page or anything? Get people active in your area?
yep, we have sdlp.org. That's our local site. I got to do some updates on there. And then we are jumpstarting Young Americans for Liberty as well. So any um, younger Americans, between the ages of 18 to like 35 ish, 40, are welcome to join. We're going to be invading some college campuses soon, and talk to people and try to pull people into the liberty movement.
Sounds
And,
great.
and yeah, besides that, that's kind of what we got right now.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I encourage everybody, whatever state you're in, listen to the get active in your local Libertarian Party in the county, the state, get active
Now,
nationally.
now's the time. It's, to be honest, now or never.
And yeah, if you're the person standing around looking around and you don't see anybody doing it, you gotta be the first one to stand up then, because others
Yep,
will follow. They're just waiting
yep,
for somebody.
yep. That's you. You need to be the voice, and
Yeah,
it'll echo.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, again, I really appreciate you coming on and, talking to us about this. I appreciate your work you're doing out there. I saw your clips. I said, "Gotta have him on again."
well, I appreciate you, and I'm glad you got me in a non worked up, agitated state.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's good because that's good. We're putting a good message out here, and hopefully we can spread the word about the abuses going on out there, and
Yeah.
get a more sane civil world out there.
We need all hands on deck. So it doesn't matter if you like. I know we tried to reach out before for people running for office and stuff like that, but it's even if you're not running for office, you still need to have a voice. One way, shape, or form. We can all do something. So whether
Yeah,
it's whether it's volunteering or going out to protest or working on your local XCOM or just any hands in general, helps and, promotes liberty. So,
or
um,
nation, anything. We can
anything,
do anything.
anything, and we need it. So, like, we are on the right track. We are, I think, to be honest with you, um, I think we have a shot in 2026 for a lot of different things as a party, even elections. And I don't see a whole lot of people, and we need more hands.
Yep,
So if you are a libertarian advocate, now's the time to hop in. Um, and yeah, it's time.
yep. All right, man. Well, anything else comes up, feel free to hit me up, man. I'll get you back on here ASAP.
Will do. I appreciate you, Sean.
All right, take it easy, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Liberty Blues Network.